So, when we look at how AI can help Canadians, one of the things that I noticed in the press release is the focus on being more productive, also saving time to do other tasks. Let's talk a little bit about the productivity crisis that we face right now. How can skills training like this help?
Well, productivity is an opportunity for Canada, and I think this is part of the solution. So, what AI is you know this as well as anyone, it's a tool that's actually going to help reimagine so many ways of working and getting things done. And it could actually boost Canada's economy by $230 billion and save the average Canadian worker 175 hours per year. So this is basically taking, repetitive tasks, automating them so that workers and people can skill up, do different things, and use their time elsewhere. And the other thing is it's not just the time savings that I'm very bullish about. Canada has been such a leader in AI research. Like we had the pioneers, we developed a lot of the tech here. And if we're leaders in the AI actually adoption, the way that we were in the research, we're going to build new things. We're going to create new solutions and we're going to find new ways to make Canada more productive. And we're already seeing this in a lot of areas in healthcare, in agriculture, in teaching. But unless we have the Canadian entire population just understanding what it is and having the skills to use it, even on a basic level, we're not going to be able to unlock that potential.
So I know from speaking to many different groups across different sectors across this entire country about AI that people are nervous, they're anxious, they don't know where to start. Can you talk a little bit about this training specifically in terms of what they will learn, where they can get access to it as well?
So, this AI training is called AI Essentials. It's part of Grow with Google. And you can go to Grow with Google and just look up Grow with Google AI Essentials. It's actually the most popular Gen AI course on Coursera. So, it is very popular. And when you look at what you're going to learn, it's going to really explain what AI is, how it's made, a little bit about the technology behind it, a little bit around, the bold and responsible AI, and it's going to take you through exercises. So give you opportunities to learn how to use it. I remember when I did it, it actually made me do a marketing pitch for a dog company. So it was really fun to just go in and get your hands on the keyboard and start to use it. And you're trained by Google experts. So there are videos from some of the people that, are really at the forefront of this. And what's so great about these courses, if you look at the whole basket of the Grow with Google courses that we do, 54,000 Canadians have graduated with these micro credentials. And these are not semester long courses like in university, they're micro credentials. So you can do them, on a Friday afternoon or in between meetings or on a weekend. And when we talk to those 54,000 people and we ask them, like, what happened after you took that course? We actually learned that 75% of them had a positive career outcome. So they got a raise, they got a new job, they could have had a different project that they were working on. So I think, just getting this skilling into the hands of Canadians is so important. I think this AI moment is just too big not to make the most out of. And it really starts with having Canadians who know what AI is and know how to put it to work for themselves, for their jobs, and then for their communities.
There's quite a range in terms of the different groups that are getting some of this funding, right? All the way from a public library right here in Toronto to an AI group out west. Can you talk a little bit about how that's divided and what the goal of that is?
Yeah, so if we look at, how we chose these organizations, the first thing is they all have outstanding track records and they are really amazing organizations who do a lot of great work in the community. So the first group is Amy, and they're based in Edmonton. What they're focused on is how do we answer the question, what does AI skilling or what does AI foundational knowledge look like in post-secondary education? So a lot of kids are going to be going off to university and they're always asking the question like, what is AI? How am I allowed to use it? How shouldn't I use it? And these are questions that really, not one employer, not one government can answer. We need to do it as a team sport. So Amy's going to be gathering 25 different post-secondary education institutions and leaders across Canada. And they're going to work together to try to figure out how to bring this into the curriculum. So I'm very excited about that. The First Nations Technology Council is doing the same sort of thing, in that they're starting with questions like, how do we partner with the communities, with Indigenous peoples, to really understand how to bring these in demand AI skills to Indigenous people across Canada? And then the Toronto Public Library, we know that it is the most visited public library system in North America. It's such a thing to be proud of right here in Toronto. And Skills for Change is an incredible organization that gets out skill training and entrepreneur training to underserved communities across Canada. They're really going to be doing a lot of the hard working, getting out the AI essentials to the 2 million plus Canadians. So if you were to walk into a Toronto Public Library, I would hope that you would see a flyer on the bulletin board or talk to the librarian and understand that there might be an AI essentials learning group that you could join. Because as much as it's great to go online and do these courses, sometimes Canadians just need a little bit of support. They want a learning group, they want to meet new people, they want to learn with other people. So that's what Toronto Public Library and Skills for Change are going to be doing.
So one of the things that I've noticed in some of my conversations that I'm having with small business owners, I've been noticing that there's a gap there too, right? A lot of small business owners keen to learn how to use AI. Sometimes these are the forgotten Canadians in many ways. You know, we address people who need to build those skills, kind of who are at the lower end of tech skills, and then maybe the larger businesses. But how can this help those entrepreneurs and small business owners, which make up a huge part of our population and support our economy?
Oh, this is such a great tool for a small business owner. I've been coaching a friend who is a small business owner and just trying to get them really powered up in AI skills, because I think this is now giving you the leverage of what you need as a small business owner. You have to be the master of everything, right? And so you can go to the AI to help write a business plan, and you can go and understand different ways to attract different target audiences. There is a flower shop in Milton called Karen's Flowers, and they used one of our AI powered marketing tools called PMax, and they were able to get 10% more customers buying from their store in Milton. And they were able to do it at 30% less per cost per person that they attracted. So this is something that, a couple of years ago, only large organizations had the capabilities to be able to do that kind of marketing campaign. And now we can put that into the hands of a small business owner in Milton. And if you think about, 98% of our economy are SMBs, if every small business owner could learn how to use these tools, you talked earlier about productivity. That's one of the building blocks of productivity, is getting people to ladder up and create more value. And that's exactly what I would like to see happen. But it starts with just baby steps, right? Like understanding what it is, trying it out. But what I've noticed is that people get really good really quickly, right? It needs Canadians are smart, you don't really need to give them a ton of instructions. You just need to put the opportunity in their hands. And I know that they will make the most out of it.
Just a couple more questions for you. I wanted to ask what you would say to people who are fearful of AI. I mean, there's a lot of fear mongering out there in the media and beyond. What would you say to people who are worried about the future of AI? How can you help to sort of reduce some of those fears that they might have?
Well, the first thing is try it. So we did a bit of research around this, and when Canadians try it and they use it and they start seeing how it works and they understand it a little bit more, I think that dampens a little bit of the fear and makes them understand what it is and what it isn't. So that's really why we're hoping that more and more people will just try the tools, use the tools, and make it work for them. The second thing is, I think there's always like that fear is AI going to replace my job? And the reality is that AI is a tool that's going to transform so many aspects of work, but it is actually just a complement, right? It's an augmentation to your work. So if you are a coder, you would be using AI to help you code, and it's going to make you more productive and more effective. If you're a farmer, you may be using AI to optimize your crop yields. If you're a teacher, in the future, you'll be using AI to have individualized learning for all the kids in your class. This weekend, I actually helped my daughter out with a French exam that she had. And as an experiment, I handed her my phone and I said, talk to Gemini. It speaks better French than I do. And so then she started to do that and get feedback on her French, and it was outstanding. And then I stopped it and I said, okay, now let's try the questions again. And her learning went up so much just from having used that tool. So if you really look at it as something that's going to augment and complement, then I think that really changes the frame, and it makes you more excited to learn it, because it's like something to help you become super skilled at so many things that maybe you don't have the time to do. And then there's a totally other aspect, which I think is really exciting, is that when I was 13, this job that I'm doing today didn't exist. Like the internet didn't exist, right? Neither did mobile phones, Amber, but that's another story. But my kids are 14, and when they talk to me like, what am I going to do when I grow up? What we all talk about is we're not sure, but it's going to be exciting. And you might have a new job that doesn't exist right now as well, or you might be doing a job that you know what it is today, but it is going to be augmented by AI. And I think if we take that frame and we think about AI as a tool, and we think about AI as a tool that's going to make ourselves more productive, help us solve problems, help us plan vacations, meal plans, whatever it is that you're passionate about. And then we can ladder that into productivity gains by making businesses, SMBs and large businesses. I think that's what the real power is. But the one worry I have, Amber, is we are falling a little bit behind on on basically adopting AI. So there was a Deloitte study that says, 26% of businesses in Canada have adopted, and it's 34% globally. So we're a little behind. I'm not worried because I have a lot of, I just know Canadians are going to catch up. And this is just one step into going into that direction.
Excellent. So, last question for you, because you answered a question I had about how do you prepare the next generation. I think both of us, as parents of teens, certainly that exposure to these AI tools to augment how kids learn is so powerful. Finally, for people who are listening to this, and we have listeners from all across the country, how do they go about getting access potentially to maybe one of these programs that's being rolled out, or other learning tools from Google?
Yeah, well, if you want to start with like AI Essentials, which I think is just sort of the foundational one to start with on AI learning, just go to Grow with Google. Go to Google, type in Grow with Google AI Essentials. Again, the most popular AI course on Coursera, and you can start that. If you want a little bit more of a supportive environment, walk into your Toronto Public Library if you're in Toronto. If you're outside of Toronto, look up Skills for Change and see the programs that they are running. And then hopefully, by the time our kids are in university, Amber, like, the work that Amy is doing right now to figure out how to integrate it into the curriculum will already be done. So I think some of that is going to come with it, and also for Indigenous people across Canada. But just start with the Grow with Google, or just start using the tools, whatever tool it is, start using it and seeing how it can work for you.
All great advice. And I think it's also worth noting we had a guest on the show recently who was talking about AI as a Canadian story. I mean, we have really deep roots here in this country on the AI front. So it looks like you are equally optimistic that maybe we can catch up a little bit and continue this AI story.
Yeah, I think we have such a powerful story of AI pioneering in Canada. And now I want to see Canadians really take the tool, build with it, learn how to make it work for themselves, learn how to create value with it. And that's like, that's part of the big economic transformation story that's underway. This is a real opportunity, and I really want us to take advantage of it.
Excellent. Well, listen, Sabrina, thank you so much. I always love sitting down and chatting with you and catching up on all things Google, and really appreciate you taking the time to join me on the AmberMac show.
Oh, I'm so pleased to be here. Great to see you too.